We are starting to recover from the recent impact of Hurricane Matthew. For the most part, of course, as you can see, a lot of people still struggling right now. There are people who are still trying to recover from the historic floods, in fact, from last October. And now a setback in those plans after a grant from FEMA was denied in this regional area, in the local area. News 2's Macy McLeod joins us in this studio with more on what that means. Macy.
Carolyn, we are talking about the Flooding Mitigation Assistance Grant through FEMA. The city of Charleston requested more than $10 million, which would be used to purchase land and those homes that have a history of severe flooding.
In the past 3 months, the Hales family home in Shadow Moss Plantation has flooded 3 times. They gave up on trying to make repairs and haven't lived in the house since August 31st, 2015.
Anytime it floods, it basically turns your life upside down, so we didn't want that. So we basically paid off our house with the insurance money and found a place to live where, at least we know we're coming home to the same place every day, and my kids have some stability.
He says the house has flooded 9 times total since it was built, but that was not disclosed to his family when they bought the house. And he did have flood insurance, but never imagined he would get so much use out of it.
Being that I'm not from Charleston, I thought that was something that just basically everybody had to have because of like hurricanes and stuff. Had I known prior to purchasing the house, the history that it had, of course I would not have bought it.
They don't want to keep repairing it or sell it to another family and put them in the same situation.
I would not certainly do that to somebody else. That's beyond the pale.
So the city asked FEMA for a grant of more than $10 million through their flooding mitigation assistance so that they could purchase some of these homes, like the Hales, that have a history of severe flooding.
The structure and lot would be purchased, and then they would be given those funds to be put toward relocation to another area of the city that's perhaps more resilient in terms of flooding. And then that property that was purchased by via the federal funds would then just return to open space, green space in perpetuity.
That grant request was denied. David says it would save the government money to just buy the house.
The house that I have was originally purchased in 1991 for $90,000. The federal government in the FEMA program, as far as flood insurance, has already spent $350,000 repairing my house from floods, and there's no end in sight for that.
The city is reapplying for that grant, and they are also asking some of our congressmen from the state of South Carolina to argue the case for this money in D.C. They have also applied for another grant through FEMA that would bring about the same amount of money if approved. They are expecting to have an answer on both of these options by early next year. Macy McLeod, News 2.